Good evening, West Texas. From Amarillo to Lubbock, over to Wichita Falls, Abilene, Midland, Odessa. Those of you listening around the world, online. Welcome to the Chad Hasty Show. Steve Evans, hanging out with you this evening. 806-680-2790, the number to text the show. If you'd like to send a message, love to hear from you. Anything you'd like to talk about, we can certainly give it a go. News all over the place. Taking a look at several different things, from stuff going on in Iran to some polls I'm looking at in the state of Texas, to California Democrats being stupid as they do, to the poor sloths in Florida. We have the poor sloths, Nikki, up on this. The poor sloths in Florida. It's terrible, terrible ordeal going on down in Florida. Bring it to you. Let's do the California Democrats, because I think it's the funniest one that I've taken a look at today. They just mess up every once in a while. They just open their mouth and reveal their plan to you. Okay, I think every Democrat from federal, we'll call them federal Democrats, Federocrats, maybe, federal Democrats, to the various states Democrats, the high-ranking Democrats, the local commissioners, courts, and local Democrats, probably not in cahoots here, but I think like your reps and your state governments and your governors, and I think they're all in cahoots. I think they all get together once a year and figure out what their talking points are going to be. I really think they do. There's some secret Democrat meeting that happens. We need to figure out where this thing happens. It's like not that it could be the Democrat convention, but I don't think that I think they're more low key than that, more low profile. They have a meeting somewhere underground. And all of the Democrats from all the states, the influential Democrats, I don't know, what I'm talking about. They all get together. And they say, here's our plan. And here's our talking points. And we're just going to stay united on all this. And nobody say anything. Don't have a slip of the lip there, Katie Porter. Don't mess up and say something you shouldn't and reveal our plan. I think this happens. Again, it'd kind of be neat to be a fly on the wall of the grand annual meeting of the Democrats. I'm sure it happens. They have the modus operandi that they update on occasion, and this is their talking points. Hey, Ruckus weighing in. First one to weigh in this evening, Ruckus. You beat Robert. Got in quick. Glad you're listening this evening. So former Representative Katie Porter, Democrat candidate in California's gubernatorial primary, big old crowded primary out there, she's facing backlash. Oh, she's in trouble. She's in trouble with the Democrat. I don't know. I don't want to call them the Democrat committee, the evil Democrat conspiracy clan. Throw me some words there, texters. It's facing backlash after saying illegal immigrants are driving population growth in the state. Uh-oh. She messed up. Republicans have been claiming that for a long time. Of course, they're like, oh, that's not true. They're not driving population growth. Not illegal immigrants. Of course not. We don't believe in that. She slipped up. Internet's on fire right now. You can find it pretty easily. Job of the California governors to protect every single Californian, she said, after being asked if she would work with federal authorities to deport illegal immigrants at yesterday's gubernatorial debate. The sanctuary state policy is designed to make sure that our state resources, the taxpayer dollars, the public servants that we have are focusing on doing their jobs, which is not cooperating. All the state resources, listen to this. The taxpayer dollars, the public servants that we have, they're mainly Democrat, and they're trying to drive a nail in the coffin to any Republican ever representing anybody in California ever again. They're focused on doing their jobs, which is not cooperating with federal authorities. Uh-oh. The Democrats are over there. I can't believe she said that. She was supposed to keep her mouth shut. These are Californians. They contribute to our economy. They pay taxes. They don't pay taxes. They might pay some sales tax, but you're arguing that sales tax isn't enough. And they're one of the ways our state has been growing in recent years, she said, of the illegal immigrants. The illegal immigrants. Before you start arguing with me, the illegal immigrants. Not legal immigration, not legal migrants, illegal immigrants. Gunther Eagleman, a popular right-wing ex-account, accused Porter of saying the quiet part out loud by stating the illegal immigrants have mitigated population decline in California. Katie Porter accidentally admits out loud that Californians are fleeing California and are being replaced by imported illegals. That is from conservative influence account Libs of TikTok. Republicans, including President Trump, have accused Democrats of resisting efforts to deport illegal immigrants because it could cost them seats in the House. Illegal immigrants counted by the census help determine the total number of House seats a given state is entitled when the chamber is reapportioned every 10 years. Yeah, they're padding their numbers. So she says, Cali has too many seats in the House, another ex-user said in response to Porter's comments. While Trump and others have attempted to add a citizenship question to the census in an effort to remove non-citizens from calculations determining the number of House seats each state has, the Constitution does not mention citizen status in relation to congressional appointment. California is cooked. Katie Porter says criminal illegal aliens are one of the only ways California's been growing in recent years. Democrats have been in total control for the past 16 years, absolute total control. An estimated 400,000 illegal immigrants entered California between 21 and 23, according to the Public Policy Institute of California. Between July 21 and July 23, California's overall population grew by just under 20,000 per data published by California Department of Finance. That's because all the billionaires and millionaires, big businesses, and anyone that can afford it is leaving California faster than you pouring a pot of boiling hot potatoes on your ex-partner's head. Ex-partner, like I said that. One ex-account wrote, responding to Porter and alluding to the allegation of domestic violence against the gubernatorial candidate. California saw a net population loss of 215,000 from domestic migration in 2025 compared to the net gain of 125,000 from foreign migration the same year, according to the state's Department of Finance. Migration out of California has cost the state billions of dollars in revenue, tax revenue, according to their legislative analyst office. Other critics seized on Porter's assertion that illegal immigrants benefit from California's economy, or they benefit California's economy. If you're thinking the best way to promote economic growth involves letting in illegal aliens, you're doing it wrong, Senator Lee out of Utah wrote. California's illegal immigrants paid roughly $8.5 billion in state and local taxes during 2022, according to an estimate from the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. It's got to be in sales taxes. How are they paying taxes? They're not paying taxes. It's got to be sales tax where they're paying it. What other tax would they pay without having a Social Security number? Conservative critics argue that illegal immigrants consume more than that in public services such as education and subsidized health care, though the cost of such things are difficult to quantify. The next thing that you're going to figure out is that you are subsidizing illegal immigrant health care. That's the next thing that's going to get revealed eventually. That, oh, yeah, That was the whole Obamacare plan from the get-go. Now, they removed the penalty for not joining it, so you can be completely uninsured if you want to with no penalty. But that was the plan. Some studies, including a report recently published by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, have also found that illegal immigration causes the cost of living to go up by increasing the demand for housing. I contained myself well. Sheriff Chad Bianco, one of the two Republicans who participated in the gubernatorial debate, chimed in. Now, if you want to go look, I talk about this all the time, but there's a Numbers USA video out there. I believe it's Numbers USA that does it. And a guy does these big beaker test tube things that he puts balls and M&Ms and all this different stuff in. And he explains how the amount of immigration that we can handle, legal immigration that the United States can handle without completely overrunning our resources, overrunning our infrastructure, overrunning our everything that we provide. We can overrun our utility systems, our power systems, water systems, sewage systems, if we have too much population growth at one time. So when we have an influx of people, especially when you have areas that are housing and sanctuary areas for illegal immigration, they're flooding in. What would happen if people weren't fleeing California? What if the millionaires, billionaires, and everybody that could hitch a trailer to their truck wasn't fleeing California? And we still had this mass influx of sanctuary illegal immigrants into California. They would get completely overrun. The reason that they haven't is because their population is actually down and they're depending on the illegal immigrants to come in. Well, that's where they're at now. The problem with all these people that we talk about, well, they're leaving California, coming to a more conservative state. They're not as conservative as we are. I don't think they are. You can disagree with me if you want, 806-680-2790. I don't think they're as conservative as we are. And I think they're still bringing some of their purple plan and their purple ideology into our state. I think it's happening. 470 says, I don't think there's a big convention meeting. I think there's a leadership meeting, then a fall in line or else email. I think they all get together. I do. I think it's like some weird, they sacrifice something, drink blood. They do it all. I'm sure there's could even be a human sacrifice. Stay away from them. You never know. It's the Democrats we're talking about, there's no telling what they might do. We need to take a break, 806-680-2790. Steve Evans hanging out with you here on the Chad Hasty Show. Back in a moment.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
When you see a car that's been in a bad crash, it's no accident. When it backs traffic up for miles, no accident. And if there's a fatality involved, somebody died. That's no accident either. A lot of the time, it was speeding. And it's no accident that speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas, many of them fatal. So slow down, be safe, drive smart. A message from TxDOT.
This is Bill Cunningham, the Great American. Do not miss my show every Sunday night
from 9 to midnight
on the News and Talk of West Texas, News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Tune in to Coast to Coast AM with me, George Norrie, every day from midnight to 5 on KFYO and on the KFYO app.
All right, welcome back. 806-680-2790. 759 says, they're bringing their liberal bull with them. Yes, they are. He's talking about the Californians coming to Texas, and they're not that conservative. They're conservative, but I feel like it's probably more of a financial decision that's driving them away. Cost of living, taxes, water issues, things like that. And, we don't have a limit. Wouldn't that be really interesting if Texas put a limit on the amount of people that can move here? That's kind of saying, yeah, you can't come to Texas because we got water problems. We got our issues too. We can't afford the growth. At what point can we not cap that? It'd probably take a state constitutional amendment to do it, to say you can't come here. And then the Constitution says you can move freely about, so that would probably get a constitutional challenge. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? So, we can only take so much immigration to Texas a year because our infrastructure can't handle it. What an idea. I'm sure somebody's had it before me. Mark in California. Removing illegal immigrants, I'm assuming that's what you're saying, is would free up government housing. You don't see them living on the streets. Then the question is, where are they? Well, you live in a sanctuary state. I mean, there's probably tons of federal programs. Tons. You probably can work. You probably work tax-free because it's not like they're going to apply for a Social Security number. They can't do that. Or can they? Maybe they found a way. Maybe they're just paying state taxes. They're paying state income tax, and maybe California is assigning them some number, some random number of their own to file it on. Come stay here. We're sanctuary, but you have to pay a little money. Tax you a little bit. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Probably not the way it is. But it's a problem. And although California doesn't seem to be having a problem, according to these numbers, they're losing population and losing money because people are sick of it and leaving. Do they know what they're leaving for? Is anybody really interviewing them? Are they sitting out there in Arizona on the interstate as they pass by and go, hey, let me talk to you. Where are you headed? Texas. Well, why are you going? Too many illegal immigrants, too many... property values have gotten too high. Taxes are too high. Don't have any water. Can't find work. I mean, whatever. Does anybody actually trying to figure out how they're coming? I don't know. Maybe we need to have a Texas application. See how many people are upset with that. They have to apply for Texas citizenship. Now, I'm not jumping on the secession bandwagon by any means. Don't throw me under that bus. But that would be an interesting proposition, wouldn't it? If the ledge is like, you know what? We can't support the influx of Californians into our state. We're doing all we can with our infrastructure from people that live here and population growth that we're having. So we're just going to limit. Migration into the state of Texas. That would be an interesting proposition. I don't know. 535 says the Californians are fake conservatives. Hey, I haven't met a lot of I've met a couple of California transplants that seem pretty conservative to me, but I haven't met that many. I don't think there's that many in West Texas. I really don't. I don't think they're coming here. I'm from Odessa, and they always used to say you had to stay there long enough to wear out a pair of shoes before you could even get used to being there. You see companies all the time that try to transplant people into West Texas for leadership roles, management roles. They don't last very long. I mean, they've got to be from here to want to be here, and we don't see a lot here. I see a few. I mean, I do know a couple that lived in California and couldn't wait to get out. They've been here long enough, maybe we've beaten it out of them. Maybe the dust has sandblasted them enough that they've lost a few layers of skin. Maybe they made a little thicker skin. I don't know. But I think, it's possibly a fair statement to say, on the whole, the collective of Californians that are coming here are not as conservative as Texans are. I think that might be a fair statement without absolutely any data to back it up. We don't need data to back up what we say, do we? The Democrats don't seem to need it. Oh, my goodness. Except when they're opening their mouth and inserting foot. They got lots of statistics they can throw at you. I don't know. Maybe we can do is there an exchange program? Ooh, Californian exchange program. We'll send some of our illegal immigrants we catch at the border to you in exchange for someone that'll pass your conservative test. The thought of that. Who's going to write that test? You can come, but you got to pass this test. Says you really are conservative. That would go over so well. Oh, man. Nick, I think you get to write the test, the conservative test. You don't want to do that? Oh, man. Can you send some questions, listeners, what you think some of those questions might be? 806-680-2790. If you had to write a conservative test, what are some of the questions you would put on it? This is to give the Californians wanting to come in and on the exchange, citizen exchange. Well, it's not citizen. It'd be a person exchange program if we wanted to create that. 806-680-2790. All right, we've got to take a quick break. Take a look at news and weather. Make sure we're not going to blow away. I'm going to look at the weather reports, too, while we're at the break. And, hey, I promise, in a few minutes, we'll be right back. Stick around.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
When you see a car that's been in a bad crash, it's no accident. When it backs traffic up for miles, no accident. And if there's a fatality involved, somebody died. That's no accident either. A lot of the time, it was speeding. And it's no accident that speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas, many of them fatal. So slow down, be safe, drive smart. A message from TxDOT.
TSN headlines. Texas drivers are once again paying more than $4 a gallon for gasoline. The statewide average $4.04. Diesel prices averaging $5.14 a gallon. The smokable hemp you would normally see in stores has been taken off the shelves as the recent injunction allowing the state to continue has been overturned. So far, just 9 out of about 250 camps have been approved for licenses this summer by the Texas Department of State Health Services. More than half don't qualify due to a provision in new state law requiring the installation of end-to-end fiber optic broadband internet. The cost for that is in the millions of dollars. Epic Waters plans to host a private event to celebrate the Muslim holiday of Eid June 1st. It would require a modest dress code. Governor Abbott says that could result in the loss of $500,000 for the city of Grand Prairie. The city owns the water park. In the majors today, the Houston Astros lose to the LA Dodgers 12-2. The Rangers tonight at New York Yankees. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
The rental team at ASCO is ready to help you find the right equipment to do the job. For over 65 years, we've dedicated ourselves to supporting you with fast service and reliable equipment. Choose from daily, weekly, or long-term rental options to fit your project's needs. Buy it, rent it, support it. We're on it at ASCO Equipment. Visit ASCOEQ.com for your next equipment rental. That's ASCOEQ.com.
CarsForKids.org. Right off the car, not the kid.
Got an old or unused vehicle you need to get rid of? Donate it to the original CarsForKids.org. Towing is free, and you'll be helping kids in our communities. CarsForKids.org is the best vehicle donation charity impacting the lives of kids thanks to your vehicle donations. CarsForKids.org picks up vehicles in any condition, and you'll receive a $50 gift card. Don't delay. Donate today.
South Plains weather forecast for temperatures this evening dropping close to 40 degrees. A bit cool as the front has moved through the area. High temperatures for Thursday around 74 degrees under mostly sunny sky. The wind not as strong. Well, 49 degrees for temperatures overnight by Friday. And Friday's temperatures in the upper 80s. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the Sonic Refreshers. I'm meteorologist Ron Robertson, Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Financial news on KFYO.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. U.S. Airlines spent $1 million more on jet fuel in April than they did in March. According to data from the Transportation Department, that represents a 56% premium to prices 1 month earlier and 30% more than a year earlier. And because of this fuel spend, many airlines have lowered or scrapped their fiscal 2026 profit forecasts. Berkshire Hathaway subsidiary McLean is planning to deploy self-driving trucking technology on routes in Texas and other parts of the Sun Belt by the end of the year. McLean is working with Pittsburgh-based Aurora Innovation on the project. The two have been putting this concept together since 2023. Another strong showing on Wall Street with oil prices coming down as well. Dow Industrial Average picked up 612 points, ending the day at 49,910. NASDAQ added 513. S&P 500 gained 106. Oil prices pulled back as West Texas crude was down 7% at $95.08 a barrel. That's Your Money Now.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text SPARK to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 215-215. That's SPARK to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Coming up on Sunrise LBK on Thursday, Test Drive of the Week with CarPro. Jerry Reynolds at 7:35. Also, hey, it's your last opportunity, moms, to register for the big Spring Refresh Bundle at Furnished by Holly, 3501 50th Street, valued over $3,000. Interior design consultation, 2 hours of in-home staging, and $2,500 of in-store credit. It's all on Sunrise LBK in the morning.
Empowering West Texas with news that matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO.
Don't forget about Chad. Find Chad on social media at Chad Hasty Radio on X and Instagram. It's The Chad Hasty Show.
Hey, welcome back, 806-680-2790. To send a message and participate in the creation of the conservative exam. It seems like it's going to get written tonight. There's a lot of text here. It's possible. Some more than others. Let's take a look. 782 says, get Jim Baxter to write the questions. No, he's a transplant too. It's got to be a native Texan. I'm sure you'd love me saying that. You don't get to write him, Jim. Let's see. As to California's leaving, this is from Mark in California. Many are liberals because they can't afford to stay, but are too stupid to realize their policies made it unaffordable. It's making our point for us. A strong conservative, but not sure Texas is the right place. Your Muslim issue is off the hook. That is a problem. Let's see. If you rooted for the 49ers in the Super Bowl, you can't come to Texas. Ooh. That's a pretty good one. Or the Raiders. Are the Raiders still in California? I don't even watch Pro Bowl anymore. Or they move? They were Oakland, then LA, then went Oakland again. Are they still there? Or did they move? Somebody let me know. I don't know. 681, what value does California have for anyone staying or leaving? Watch riots, the fires, taxation, homeless, unfettered crime. It's from Philip, listening in Amarillo, up in the Panhandle. I can't answer your question. They don't have any value. I lived there for a very, very short time, only because the government made me go. The military made me go. And I picked it over the East Coast stations that were available. We had a big board, and you were based on your class ranking. You got to go over and pick your orders, and they had them separated. One side of the board was East Coast, one side of the board was West Coast, and there was like Guam. Poor guy that was like at the bottom, and there was only enough for as many members in the class. Poor guy that was the worst student. He got to go to Guam, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right. I don't think anybody picked it. There was Japan. There was different orders out there. But I kept hearing, like, you don't want to be on the East Coast. It's a lot harder there. It's closer to command, and they're more stringent, and the West Coast is more laid back, and all that is true. And so I thought, you know what? I'll go to California. We didn't know how liberal California was going to be when we went there, and I went there. I was there for 6-7 months and then got married to my lovely bride. And she came out there with me, and we just newlyweds, little apartment in the military. Didn't really notice what was going on, till later. And you start to see it. Really didn't realize how bad California was till we went back years later for a wedding, because I had some family out there. And we went to visit our old apartment complex, and had to duck. They were shooting and drug deals going on, and thought, well, it was much nicer when we lived there. Completely devolved. But California was okay then. Lived in San Diego. It was sunny. We had the beach. We had the water. We didn't know. Probably, at that time of my life, I wasn't paying a lot of attention to politics. We had a cost of living variance. It was just enough for us to be able to afford to live there. We had a car. We had an apartment, plenty to eat. It was okay. Later, figure out, man, I'm glad we got out of there. Raiders are now in Vegas. Good riddance. Okay. But still, if you're an old Raiders fan, are they in Vegas? The Vegas Raiders? Is that right? Are they still called the Raiders? Several jump on, how do you not know this? I'm sorry. I don't know. I quit watching. I used to be a die-hard NFL fan. Another texture. Raiders are in Las Vegas. Thank you, 773. Appreciate it. I really do. I didn't know. I was a die-hard NFL fan. I was a die-hard Dallas Cowboys fan. I still like the Cowboys. I'm not going to root for any other NFL team. But I'm like several others that the NFL and the whole debacle with the national anthem, and then, them striking and their collective bargaining agreements and the millions and millions of dollars they're paid, and it's just not entertaining anymore. And so I don't pay attention to it at all. Once in a while, I'll watch the draft. It's kind of neat to see some of the college players I like to watch move on to something bigger and better, but then I don't follow them after that. I'll watch the big games. I'll watch the Super Bowl. I'll watch the playoffs some. If any of the teams that I like are getting remotely close, or if the Cowboys, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. But if the Cowboys get close to a Super Bowl again, I might pick up NFL ball again. But I'd rather watch college ball. I'd rather watch. There's probably kids that are still getting paid, but there seems to be more heart there. The game's more exciting. The weird plays, the crazy things that happen, all happen in college ball. You don't see really anything off the wall, or I don't want to say unscripted. I want to infer that NFL football is scripted, but you don't see anything exciting. because I mean they're protecting their investment. Nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to play too much. Nobody wants to get put in positions where they're going to get hurt or anything like that. So, it's boring to me. Until 20 years ago, California was great. This is Mark in California. Until 20 years ago, California was great. I lived here for 62 years. I was there in the early to mid 90s. And I mean, it was expensive. I remember gas. I tell you that the measure that my wife and I always had, no matter where I went, we always looked at the price of a gallon of milk. That was a litmus test for me, was the price of a gallon of milk. And so, when we left Texas to head out there, I think milk was like 99. Everything was 99 cents back then. I mean, a gallon of gas was 99 cents. A pack of cigarettes was 99 cents. A gallon of milk seemed like it might have been $1.06, but it was close. Get out to California and it's $5. I thought, don't they have any cows out here they can milk? Why is it so expensive? Gas was more expensive. I was a smoker then. Cigarettes were more expensive. We shopped over at the base exchange. And then, you go out to Hawaii, and this was Hawaii in the mid 90s, and milk was $9 a gallon. I think they have to fly it over there. I didn't see any cows in Hawaii. There may be some. I didn't see any. Didn't see any. And didn't see a lot of milk either. So I don't know. Maybe they have milk tankers trying to get through the Straits of Hormuz to Hawaii, and there was a blockade. I don't know. Milk was $9 a gallon. It was expensive in Hawaii. Not a lot of milk drinkers there. They drink a lot of coconut milk and different stuff there. But I don't know. That's kind of how we judged it. But California it wasn't a bad place. And then years later, we took the kids back in, 2015, 14, something like that for a wedding. And it was my cousin, and they were getting married and getting out of California because they couldn't afford to live. She was still living with her parents and into her 30s. Couldn't afford to live. Got married, neither one of them could afford to live, so they had to get out of there. They moved to Austin, so it was kind of the same thing. Similar policies as California, but it was San Diego, Mark. I loved it. I mean, it was gorgeous, beautiful. Then we got transferred up to Washington State. Gorgeous up there, but still couldn't wait to get back to West Texas. Had all the opportunity in the world. Had opportunity to work for Microsoft. I had the opportunity to work for the Fluke Meter Corporation, if you know what that is. They were stationed up in Seattle, and even looked at Boeing. Lots of great. And I came back here. I came back here for no opportunity, but it was home. And by golly, home matters. So anyway, let's take a quick break. 806-680-2790. If you'd like to send your ideas for the Are You Conservative Enough to Come from California test, love to hear from you. Back in a moment.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Nick, this is your phone here in the passenger seat. Look at me.
No, I'm driving.
You got a text. It says, "Yo, dude, your friends are fascinating. Let's text them back."
It can wait.
Sports app. Oh, you gotta see this play.
Later.
Hey, you got invited to a party. We need a RSVP now.
Phone, silence yourself.
Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Talk, text, crash. A message from TxDOT.
If you've missed the Kim Commando Show, you've missed a lot.
I just love taking your phone calls.
I want to start by thanking you for what you have given us on this planet. You have made technology digestible.
You're like my friend in IT.
Oh. Only one person that I would like to ask this digital question.
America's digital goddess,
Kim Commando. Kim Commando, every Saturday afternoon from 2 to 5 on KFYO.
Live local talk on Sundays. Reason, Religion, and Reality. Steve Evans and the Reason, Religion, and Reality crew are a panel of constitutionally minded, liberty-loving patriots covering topics from U.S. Supreme Court decisions, government actions across the spectrum, and attacks against the church. Reason, Religion, and Reality, Sundays noon to 2 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO and the KFYO app.
This is House Call for Health. A daily cup of joe can give you an energy boost, but it could also protect against aging and possibly help ward off chronic diseases. For decades, research has linked coffee consumption to longer life and lower risk of chronic disease. Now scientists say they figured out how. Texas A&M researchers say it isn't the caffeine, but rather compounds in coffee which activate a receptor in the body, recognized for its role in aging, stress response, and disease. The study finding that compounds like polyhydroxy and plant-based polyphenols were much more active. But despite the apparent connection, more research needs to be done, with the researchers noting that current recommendations around coffee consumption are not changing. Researchers also say the study is mechanistic, focusing on how the biological process works instead of proving direct cause and effect. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Arc Midnight, live. Saturday nights from 10 to midnight. On News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. 806-6802-790. 392 got a little clever. A little clever here. And says milk, the Straits of Hormuz. I mean, as a dad joke, it is. Nick was delayed just a second. Just a second. It took Nick to get it. It did. His sweater's on too tight. It just took a second to come through the airwaves and penetrate Nick's laugh process. Straits of Hormuz. Oh, my goodness. 791. I just messed up and lost your text. I'll find it here during the break. I'm so sorry. I clicked the wrong button. I don't know where it went. It went somewhere. It went into the archives. I don't know how to get it out. We'll figure out where that's at in just a minute. Sorry about you. All right. I don't know if I can get to the end of this before the end of the hour. We got a poll that came out on Cinco de Mayo. Forgot to tell you, Feliz de Cinco de Mayo? Happy 5th of May? We forgot that. I don't know. Did Tipper talk about Happy Star Wars Day? It was May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Nobody did that? Nobody remembered Star Wars Day? I forgot myself, actually. I got home, and then I saw my daughter, who's a huge Star Wars fan. And I thought, oh, May the 4th be with you. So, happy late May the 4th be with you, and happy late Cinco de Mayo. A new poll, University of Houston, indicates that in a heated Republican primary runoff election for U.S. Senate, incumbent Senator John Cornyn continues to trail Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. I mean, that's reasonable. I've always believed that Ken Paxton would beat Cornyn. Check one. You got me there, Nick? Okay. Oh, what happened? We're back. I don't know. Weird. Just everything went dead all of a sudden. You know, it's a good day when you have little problems and you got little gremlins. Remind you that everything's not perfect. You know, so jumped out there for a minute. Okay, we're back, and then we're going to run out of time. I'm going to go ahead and back up. I don't know where you lost me at. I was talking about a University of Houston poll. So they got started and talked about Senator Cornyn continues to trail Ken Paxton, although I think that Ken Paxton will handily beat Senator Cornyn. I think that's probably a given. He's the favorite conservative. I've voiced my concerns about a Ken Paxton win versus Tallarico, and I think that it's going to take a tremendous amount of work, a tremendous amount to get the vote out, a tremendous amount of money. I am very, very concerned with the campaign that is coming. Look, the Democrats want the Senate. They want control of the Senate. That is the easiest potential target for them. I don't know that they're going to get control of the House. That's going to be a little harder. The harder, whatever I'm trying to say. Just drawing a blank. It'll be harder for the Democrats to take the House. It's the harder of the two. But they want the Senate. Absolutely. So that's what's going to happen. And so I think that in their meeting, in the special meeting of the Democrats, and we'll continue this article and give you these poll numbers after the break, and we're going to hit a break here in just a minute. In the little super secret meeting, I think that's what they're looking at. I think there is a big war room somewhere that the DNC has, and they are analyzing this thing. It's all these liberal tenured professors that can take half the year off and just focus on campaigns. They're crunching numbers, and they are figuring out where to put their money. They have a lot of money, but they have to focus big chunks of it. And I think they are looking at the polling and the analytical data in a Tallarico-Paxton race, and I think I really believe that they're analyzing this, and if Paxton wins, they will flood this state with cash. Flood it. And if they do, regardless if you think, Paxton can beat Tallarico, I don't say, okay, that's great. But what if the Democrats put that kind of money into this state? The down ballot gets decimated. The Senate seat would be the least of our worries. If he wins, that'd be the least of our worries. It will affect judicial seats. It will affect commissioner seats, all the way down to JP races, state races. We'll have a slim majority in the House. These are all scenarios that could happen with $500 million+ flowing into the state. Something to think about while we're at the break. 806-680-2790 is the number to text the show. Love to hear from you. Steve Evans hanging out with you on the Chad Hasty Show on the Texas Town Square Media Network. Quick check of news and weather. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.
This is the Car Pro, Jerry Reynolds. I've been answering your automotive questions for years now on KFYO, and I'm proud to announce that the third hour of the show is returning to the weekend lineup. That's right. The Car Pro Show can now be heard every Saturday afternoon from 11 to 2, right here on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
We're not just background noise, we're the main event, because your time matters, your community matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO Lubbock.
It's 6 o'clock.
There could soon be a deal. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump suggesting the conflict with Iran could soon end, but again he stressed
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't. And they've agreed to that.
among other things.
The president claims Iran very much wants to make a deal, but he says we'll see if they can make a deal that's satisfactory to us. Calling for action by the United Nations, U.S. Ambassador Mike Waltz wants the Security Council to condemn Iran's actions.
What we're asking is additional condemnation for the sea mines that they put in, for the toll and the toll system that they're trying to levy on every ship that passes through, which of course would then be passed on to consumers all over the world.
On Fox's special report with Brett Baer, Waltz says Iran has attacked its neighbors in all directions and it should face consequences. A federal judge has unsealed the purported suicide note left by Jeffrey Epstein to his then cellmate. It reads in part, "They investigated me for a month long, found nothing, and it says it's time to say goodbye." Police in Oklahoma make an arrest in a weekend shooting at a party that killed one person and left nearly 24 others injured.
Edmond, Oklahoma Police Chief J.D. Younger announced they have the alleged shooter in custody.
Edmond detectives have arrested 18-year-old Jalen Davis for the charge of assault with a deadly weapon.
The death of one of the victims, 18-year-old Aviana Smith Gray, Tuesday night, will bring an additional murder charge. Chief Younger also went into how it's believed the incident began.
With a disturbance between two females attending the gathering that escalated into an altercation between rival gang members.
Chief Younger said more than 80 rounds, injuring at least 22 others, were fired Sunday night. He added they are searching for additional suspects.
Fox's Gernal Scott, 2 people with hantavirus and 1 suspected of infection have been evacuated from a cruise ship at the center of the outbreak. America's listening to Fox News.
This is Shannon Bream. Join me for Fox News Sunday as we sit down with a diverse and dynamic group of guests featuring interviews with political, business, and public affairs newsmakers from the U.S. and abroad. All part of the Sunday political block from Fox News Radio. Fox News Sunday.
Every Sunday evening from 5 to 6, right here on your home for the news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.
The Weekend with Michael Brown.
Saturday nights at 7.
On News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
South Plains weather forecast with temperatures this evening dropping close to 40 degrees. A bit cool as the front has moved through the area. High temperatures for Thursday around 74 degrees under mostly sunny sky. The wind not as strong. Well, 49 degrees for temperatures overnight by Friday. And Friday's temperatures in the upper 80s. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the Sonic Refreshers. I'm meteorologist Ron Robertson, Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Hey, welcome back to Hour 2 of the Chad Hasty Show. Steve Evans hanging out with you this evening. Happy 6th of May, since I didn't get to tell you happy 5th of May. No Cinco de Mayo yesterday. I just forgot. I had some Cinco de Mayo stuff to do too. Had it all planned out. I forgot. And now it's just not timely. You know? 806-680-2790. If you'd like to send a message, love to hear from you. 778 says the Senate gives them the Supreme Court. That is a very big thing. We'll talk about that more in a second. Let's see. 791, your text is back, the one I accidentally archived. Thanks for sending another one. Says, you're going to replace Chad. You're the only host I've heard that remotely follows his format and energy. I don't know. 791, don't know what we're doing yet. We're still talking about it. Right now, we're keeping the show going. We're on the air. We're with you. We're happy. We're bringing you the news and talk of West Texas right now, and we're going into a primary runoff season, and that's what's important to me. Is we're going into primary runoffs. There's candidates out there. There's things to cover, and so we're making sure myself and you might hear Ken Corbin around too. We're going to keep the show alive for a while until we figure out exactly what's next. I don't know. So just be fluid with us. That's what we're doing. We're just being fluid. We're having fun together, and that's what's important. And happy you're tuning in. So Keep rolling those texts on. So back to 778. The Senate gives them the Supreme Court. It absolutely does. Now, the Democrats, we know the Democrats want to add Supreme Court seats and dilute it. They have revealed that playbook several times by saying it's too corrupt. It's too conservative. It's been stacked by Trump, and it's evil. The evil Supreme Court, meaning they're upset they can't win. They can't win in the courts, which is usually they do pretty good in the courts. They can't win in the Supreme Court. They've long wanted to change the makeup of the Supreme Court. Just the Senate doesn't get them there, but it does give them confirmation power. Absolutely, what it does. It does set them up for two branches of government the next go around. If they can get a Democrat president elected and retain control of the Senate, then everybody better hold on to the Supreme Court seats. That's what better happen. So back to our poll. We look at Middleton. This poll looked at Senator Cornyn and Ken Paxton, that Senate race. And then it also looked at the Attorney General race, Texas Attorney General race. Senator Mays Middleton holds a 9-point lead over Representative Chip Roy as the two vie to become the GOP nominee for State Attorney General. A poll was conducted April 28th to May 1st of 1,200 likely Republican primary voters. 48% of respondents plan to vote for Paxton, while 45% prefer Cornyn. I like when they poll people and they're like, oh, no. What's your answer to this poll? Oh, no. And they count them in the poll. Oh, no. No answer. I'm like, didn't answer the poll question. Got the poll. Checked in the poll. Didn't answer. Went all the way down to the election. Went to the voting location. Checked in. Didn't like anybody. Didn't vote. Awesome. Thanks for turning out. That's kind of what they do. 7% undecided. Paxton also touted a higher net favorability rating of 7% compared to -2% for Cornyn. Of those who voted in the March 3rd GOP primary for U.S. Representative Wesley Hunt, who didn't make the runoff, Paxton leads Cornyn 54-35 among those voters, which means those voters are going to go over to Paxton's corner. So I say Paxton is likely to win that runoff pretty handily. I'm just concerned with what happens after. Poll respondents preferred Middleton over Roy 48-39%, with 13% unsure. In the Republican runoff election to head the Texas Railroad Commissioner, incumbent Commissioner Jim Wright led with 35% over Tarrant County Republican Party Chairman Bo French's 28%, former Tarrant County Republican Party Chairman Bo French's 28%, 37% undecided. How did they find 37%? How did they find that many people undecided in that? You only have two people to pick from. Most people will flip a coin at that point. How did they find? I don't know. You want to take a poll? Yeah. How do you feel about these two? I don't know. Political analyst and professor Mark Jones, director of the poll, told the Texan the down ballot candidates are finding it more difficult to reach voters this year. Right? 9 out of 10 of those undecided voters have no idea who Bo French and Jim Wright are. And they're campaigning heavy. I mean, hands up in the air and holla if you're getting texts from Bo French. I get them every single day on both of my phones. Several. I'm half a mind to just call Bo French. I think I've got his number somewhere and say, hey, stop it. Take my number off your list. You can't opt out of that stuff either. They're just blanket geofencing, mass text. Drives me crazy. I think I've gotten a few from Jim Wright, too. How do you not know who these people are with the text that they're putting out? And the email campaign. They're running a hard campaign, man. Let's see. Lost my place. Right. What's interesting is 15% of respondents who voted in the March primary do not remember who they voted for in the Attorney General race. That's interesting. Do you remember who you voted for in the Attorney General race? Let's see. I got your text, Mark. 791 sent me a text. I said, this is between us. Okay. California, it's our secret. I have secret. There's people all the time. It's interesting. I'm going to out you here just for a second, Mark. I'm not going to read what you wrote, but people all the time like, hey, I just wanted to send this message to you. Don't read this out loud. And the problem is, a lot of times, and I shouldn't even be telling you this, but I don't pre-read all the text. We should read them. I'm pretty good at pausing. And sometimes I get to the end of it and say, hey, don't read this on the air. Oops. I caught that one. There, what you said, Mark. Gotcha. But 15% don't remember who they voted for. Now, our ballot wasn't, it was kind of, the problem with the Texas ballot is you get, we stack all of these ballot propositions in the primary ballot. And the SREC is the one that votes on those. I had votes on those. I had help shaping the language, although I don't like them at all. I tried to cap it at 8. That fails. I think the last time, I think we had the most now, but we tried to cap it at 10. Maybe it got capped at 12. I don't even remember what all was on there. I remember some of them. But they're all designed to put pressure on the ledge. That's what they're designed for. So I'm getting off on a digression here, but you get voter fatigue. And number one, there's 2 types of fatigue in elections. You get voter fatigue because we have a lot of elections. And I personally think municipal and school board and bond elections belong in November. They don't want them there because there's too many voters show up. That's where they belong. And so you get voter fatigue with all the elections, but then you get ballot fatigue in a primary ballot because it's just so long. Oh, it's terrible. And then you got all these ballot propositions at the end, and you're 6 or 7 pages down the road, and you finally get to the end of the ballot, and And I remember, when we used to have to mark the ballot, people would just start playing dot to dot, just random. I think they do that now. They get to the bottom and it's like, and I always say, if you don't know, you get to a race where you just flat don't know any of the candidates, just don't vote. Just skip that race. You don't have to. I do that. I'll tell you right now, if I get to a race and I think, man, I haven't done my homework. I don't know who these people are. I didn't do what I recommend everybody do and get a sample ballot and take a look at it. That's what I do for my family. I've got a young voter and then the wife. I print out the ballot for them. Here you go. Would you like to know anything about any of these candidates? Do your research before you go. But if I get there and I messed up and it was some race that I wasn't watching, wasn't paying attention, didn't do any research on, and don't know anybody, I don't cast a vote in it. I skip it. I think that's more responsible than just, what if I picked the wrong person? What if I offset a good vote? I don't want to be responsible for that. So I just don't. So with 15% of respondents who voted in the March primary not remembering who they voted for, that kind of underscores the lower salience of these down ballot races, even as one high profile as the Attorney General's race. It's the voter fatigue. It's people that will show up to vote, but what are we doing? It's like it just doesn't even matter. That's kind of the attitude, even though it does. It matters greatly. It really matters in November. It really matters in the primary runoffs. It matters that you turn out because we have low turnout. We have a congressional seat to choose. Whoever wins, and especially in TX19, which covers a good part of this listening area, whoever wins that runoff will be the next congressman of TX19. That is the deciding factor. We don't want that to be a low turnout. We want a good, deep profile of voters to come and vote. It's what you want. You don't want it decided by a few. Well, look at the recent city of Lubbock elections. It was just terrible, terrible turnout. Mayor McBrayer was reelected in the city of Lubbock, but by just a marginal amount of voters, a small percentage that could have turned out to vote. And although he's happy to win, he'll tell you that's not the way necessarily that I wanted to win. I wanted more people to come out and make those decisions. So that's going to be the key. Voter turnout is going to be the absolute key. It's going to be the key in the runoff, but it is really going to be key in November. The Democrats are going to work on getting their people to the polls. Absolutely. Now I need to take a break. We'll get to Eric's text in a minute. I got to take a break, and I might get to the bottom of this article. I might not. There's a lot more data to share with you, but, hey. We'll get there. 806-680-2790. I'm Steve Evans. Back in a moment.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio. The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
You've got a life to live, and you don't want to miss out on any of it. That's why the first thing you do when you get in a car is buckle your seatbelt. Whether you're a driver or a passenger, not wearing your seatbelt could get you a ticket, a fine, or worse. Nobody wants that. So remember, if you love it, click it. Brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
Local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Coming up on Sunrise LBK on Thursday, Test Drive of the Week with Car Pro Jerry Reynolds at 7:35. Also, hey, it's your last opportunity, moms, to register for the big Spring Refresh Bundle at Furnished by Holly, 3501 50th Street, valued over $3,000. Interior design consultation, 2 hours of in-home staging, and $2,500 of in-store credit. It's all on Sunrise LBK in the morning.
After 98 years, we're still on the air. This is News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.
Hey, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. 806-680-2790. Steve Evans hanging out with you. A few texts out there. Eric from Hale Center, thanks for taking the time with us, doing what you do for us out here in God's country. My pleasure. Always enjoy being with you. 759. Chad believed all voting should happen on one day in November for everything. I agree. Tired of having to vote multiple times a year. I don't like early voting either. Early voting comes straight out of your county budget. It's extra. So, for instance, primary elections are run by each party in the county. So let's take Lubbock County Republican Party. They run their own primary with funding from the state, and they contract it, but the early voting comes out of the county budget. The county has to pay for that. It's almost an unfunded mandate to the county. But I was with Chad on this. I think it should be one day. You show up, you vote. I also believe that the voter rolls should get purged. I'd love to do it every 2 years, but minimum of 4 years. I think you scrub the voter rolls and you go re-register to vote. I've had a lot of older people tell me, oh, that would be such an inconvenience to have to go register to vote again and remember that I had to register to vote. I get it. But it's the same people that want to complain that they think that the voter rolls are padded and we have dead people voting and there's a really good way to handle that, and that's just delete the voter rolls. Wipe them clean. We don't have to worry about cleaning them up. We don't have to worry about going back and trying to remove everybody that's passed away and deceased voters and voters that have moved out of state and the voter rolls don't get cleaned up. And that stuff does happen. It's a difficult process for the voter rolls to get cleaned up. I mean, people can go door to door. There has been some auditing done here in the city of Lubbock where someone picked a precinct and went door to door and tried to verify if voters were actually there. Now, they weren't checking to see if that voter voted and was deceased. There wasn't any data really to prove that we had in that precinct that there was dead voters voting. But they found quite a few people that had moved, don't live there anymore, still registered to vote. And the idea is, if you're still registered to vote and you're deceased or don't live there, moved to Alaska or whatever, moved out to California with Mark, then something could happen with your vote. A absentee ballot could be could be obtained. Some sort of identification could be obtained and someone could go cast votes. It could happen. Election integrity is a hot button issue, and you're going to see it. I suspect you're going to see some priority bills happen over election integrity in the next Texas legislative session. I suspect that's going to be a deal. It's a hot button issue within the Republican Party. I feel like that might be a legislative priority. I'm just guessing. I don't have any knowledge that it will be. The delegates will decide that. But I think there's members in the ledge that are going to focus some efforts on election integrity. No better way to do it than to just scrub the voter rolls clean. How easy would that be? Hit, done, delete, start over. And you got to go register to vote again. Here's your deadline. Go register to vote if you want to vote. Just recycles. I don't know. It doesn't seem to have a lot. I mean, I get some people to say, oh, yeah, that'll work. But then, I don't want to have to go register to vote. I'm going to have to go do that every 4 years. I don't know. I think it would fix the problem. 26 Texas Republican primary for U.S. Senate is the most expensive Senate primary in U.S. history. Some down-ballot candidates have struggled to raise funds and connect with voters. A factor that Mark Jones, the director of the University of Houston poll, said plays into the large number of undecided respondents. It's one reason these polls are really helpful in raising visibility. There's a large number of people who will turn out to vote in a Senate race, but once they get to the spots down on the lower ballot, their level of awareness and interest is going to be pretty low. Again, and they'll pick somebody. Jones also pointed out the strong education gap in the electoral preferences in the poll, with Cornyn leading Paxton by 10 points among college-educated voters. Paxton touted a 17-point advantage among respondents without a 4-year college degree. University of Houston poll found that 81% of likely Republican primary runoff voters have a favorable opinion of Vice President J.D. Vance. 77% have a favorable opinion of Vice President Donald Trump. A Texas public opinion research poll released at the end of April showed the Democrat Party nominee for U.S. Senate, James Talarico, led both Cornyn and Paxton in general election matchups by 3% and 5% respectively. I believe that poll, when I looked at it, had like a 2.5% margin of error. They're inside the margin of error on the majority. The same survey found Governor Abbott led the Democrat state nominee, Gina Hinojosa, 48% to 43%. That's not a large enough margin to be comfortable. In the Attorney General race, both Republican candidates, Middleton and Roy, polled at 45% compared to 39% for both Democrat candidates. Former Galveston Mayor Joe Jaworski and Senator Nathan Johnson in that race. University of Houston will release polling results for the GOP runoff election for the Texas Congressional District 9 race between Briscoe Cain and former Republican nominee for Harris County Judge Alex Mueller later this month. We'll have that poll data. 806-680-2790. 759 said I wouldn't be opposed to raising the voting age to 30. Wow. Shoot for the moon there. Too many uninformed people negating informed votes. I would not be in favor of that. That would not be a good thing. You're a legal adult. Get registered to vote. But voter education has got to lead. I mean, number one, get the vote out. I mean, for November, getting the vote out is going to be key. And the one good thing, I was not happy about it when they did it, but we've eliminated, now it makes sense, we've eliminated straight ticket voting. We have a better chance of protecting the down ballot if those down ballot candidates can get out there, get their name out there, get people to turn out and vote for them. They won't fall victim to the straight ticket. This is a good example of why it was a good idea. Didn't like it before, kind of do now. Time for news and weather. I'll be right back with more Chad Hasty Show. Steve Evans hanging out with you, 806-680-2790. See you in a minute.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
As a parent, you said you'd never give up the convertible. Look, the van even has its own backing. You said you'd never schedule your life around a stuffed animal. Nobody panic. Bun is still at daycare. And never put them in harm's way. I'll be right back, little man. Just gonna pop in the store for diapers. But never happens. Temperatures as low as 60 degrees can be deadly for children left behind. So always bring them with you every time you park the car. Stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Heads up, Texas.
So you don't hit my car when I'm sitting at a stoplight.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can ride my bike safely.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can make it across the street without getting run over.
Heads up, Texas.
So I don't have to write you a ticket.
Heads up, Texas. Because driving and using your phone is a bad combination. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
TSN headlines: these smokable hemp products you would normally see in stores have now been taken off the shelves as the new state rules on hemp sales are again in place. This comes after a Travis County judge issued a temporary injunction blocking the rules Friday. So far, only 9 camps out of 250 have had their state license applications approved this summer, thanks to a provision of the new camp safety laws that requires camps to install end-to-end fiber optic broadband internet, an expense that runs in the millions of dollars. The man who was shot and killed in a confrontation with law enforcement officers in Fort Worth Tuesday was wanted on a charge of indecency with a child. Investigators with the Texas Attorney General's office were trying to arrest 36-year-old Matthew Cruz. They say that Cruz had a knife and failed to follow their commands to drop it. The Texas Education Agency puts together a 3-person board of managers to take over another school district. This time it's the Connolly District near Waco. 2 of the district schools had unacceptable performance reviews over the last 5 years. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
Now more than ever, Texas energy security is national security. That's why Governor Greg Abbott has endorsed Jim Wright's re-election to Railroad Commissioner. Jim Wright understands how important Texas energy is to make sure we keep America first. Jim Wright is focused on making sure hostile foreign nations can never have direct ownership or indirect influence on Texas energy. And he's not stopping there. Jim Wright will keep radical militant Islamists out of Texas energy, protecting our infrastructure and our future. Look at Jim Wright's results. Record oil revenues topping $6 billion, fueling our economy and supporting record state surpluses. Jim Wright knows energy independence is national security, keeping Texas strong and America secure. He'll always stand firm for Texas. Jim Wright, protecting Texas energy, securing America's future. Re-elect Jim Wright for Railroad Commissioner. Election Day is May 26th. Political ad paid for by Texas Now PAC.
Lubbock's Top Links weather forecast with temperatures this evening dropping close to 40 degrees. A bit cool as the front has moved through the area. High temperatures for Thursday around 74 degrees under mostly sunny sky. The wind not as strong. Well, 49 degrees for temperatures overnight by Friday. And Friday's temperatures in the upper 80s. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the Sonic Refreshers. I'm meteorologist Ron Robertson, Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. A look at what this week's primaries suggest about President Trump's leadership of the Republican Party and what they mean for November. Also, in a nod to consumers, the surge in gas prices has brought back talk of suspending the federal tax on fuel. How would it work? And why so many retirees are choosing to unretire. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. Weekday mornings at 5 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
This is House Call for Health. A daily cup of joe can give you an energy boost, but it could also protect against aging and possibly help ward off chronic diseases. For decades, research has linked coffee consumption to longer life and lower risk of chronic disease. But now scientists say they figured out how. Texas A&M researchers say it isn't the caffeine, but rather compounds in coffee which activate a receptor in the body, recognized for its role in aging, stress response, and disease. The study finding that compounds like polyhydroxy and plant-based polyphenols were much more active. But But despite the apparent connection, more research needs to be done, with the researchers noting that current recommendations around coffee consumption are not changing. Researchers also say the study is mechanistic, focusing on how the biological process works instead of proving direct cause and effect. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
From the Panhandle to the South Plains to the Big Country, it's the Chad Hasty Show.
Hey, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Steve Evans hanging out with you, 806-682-790. Like to send a message, happy to hear from you. We got 773 weighing in. Says, I agree, clear the voter rolls and re-register. I mean, I've always thought it was a good idea. You get an age group out there that says, I don't want to have to drive down to the elections office to re-register. I don't want to have to do that. Oh, I don't. And then you'll have, it'll be taken advantage. You'll have like these massive, then the argument will be, we'll have low voter turnout. People won't re-register. I think we'll have true voter turnout. When you get people that are going to make the effort to go re-register, to go vote, that's probably someone who is going to turn out. You probably will get closer to having 100% turnout. You'll never get to 100%, but you'll get a lot. We'll have a lot better turnout. Lubbock County, we're over 190,000 people, and then, we're like 5 or 6% turnout in a city election. I talked to one of the candidates, and they were having a heck of a time getting people to go vote. What do I do that for? Didn't know there was an election. Just almost every door they knocked on, I didn't know there was an election. Hollywood says 30 to vote. How many people are so dumbed down to vote Cornyn? 30. Yeah, age 30. I remember John and the auto bailout, give millions to the unions, then the DNC. We're not debating Cornyn right now. It's not a Cornyn commercial. We're talking about election integrity here, Hollywood. But now we have to focus on the poor sloths. The Florida sloths that have died needlessly, and nobody knows why. 55 sloths, 50-plus sloths dead in the failed Sloth World project. The poor sloths. We can't help it, they're slow. Florida State Representative Anna Escamani, Orange County Commissioners, and international sloth experts, I'm not making this up, by the way. It's not a Babylon Bee article. It's real. Demanded accountability, more legal oversight into importing and reporting of sloths and other exotic animals into Florida for public exhibition and personal ownership, and a review of potential legal and criminal consequences after the deaths of more than 50 sloths intended to be part of Sloth World Orlando. I didn't even know there was such a thing until I saw this. Another texter jumped in and said, I could get behind 25 years old to vote. Yeah, and then not an adult till you're 25. Come on. Does that mean you want them to wait till 25 to register for selective service? Old enough to die for the country, not old enough to vote for the country? There's already an argument, old enough to die for the country, not old enough to buy a beer. Among those who are calling for a review, for calling on accountability, total ban on the imports of wild-caught sloths to Florida and or the United States intended for personal or commercial use, a review of the FWC's legal threshold for animal abuse and cruelty, criminal charges to be recommended against the owners of Sloth World. To date, no violations or charges have been filed. A review of the Class 3 wildlife designation, which does not require reports of advance imports or deaths of sloths and other animals. Improve communication between local county state agencies that deal with exotic animals. A review of the Orange County permit procedure and enforcement and staffing needed to conduct inspections. This is what the they're calling for because of the sloths, the poor sloths. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission has stated they found no evidence of violations. But under Florida law, it's a criminal offense to subject animals to unnecessary suffering. Placing highly sensitive animals in a warehouse with no electricity, heat, and no running water in suffering that was predictable, visible, and entirely preventable. They needed heat in Florida? Maybe they did. Maybe it was cold. I don't know. I struggle to understand how that does not constitute a violation. And if this does not meet the threshold for suffering under the law, then we have to act. Whether the threshold is set far too low, and whether the laws are sufficient. This is a doctor from the Sloth Conservation Foundation. You're learning things like I am. I didn't know there was such a thing. Eric says, wasn't Hillary last seen in Florida recently? Poor sloths suicided themselves. They accidentally died. Could be. What happened at Sloth World is unique, and the number of sloths that have died, I'm having a hard time holding it in reading this article. Especially, I'm not laughing at the sloths that died. That's terrible, especially in such a short amount of time. But the business model is not unique. The Sloth Institute in Costa Rica. There is a Sloth Institute in Costa Rica. They just study sloths. The Florida Wildlife Commission in August 25 investigated and failed to notify building inspectors in August of 25 if the commission didn't believe that wildlife was their concern in that warehouse. All they had to do was to make the call to the Building Safety Code Enforcement Commissioners. They would have sent their own people over there. Right now, under current permitting regulations, they were unable to gain entry. So there's that. We have a great opportunity right here in Florida to slow down. I'm not making this up. I'm really not. To slow down that importation and ban it completely. You get the sloth slowed down. Okay. You get it, right? I'm going to have some angry texters. How dare you laugh at the sloths? I'm slowly laughing. This is not an accredited facility. You're not operating with conservation in mind. I mean, there's no reason to steal an animal from the wild. They're really using the sloths as a platform here and bring them in, period. You know, if the animal was injured, that's different. But a wild animal that's happily chewing on leaves in the rainforest does not have to come to Florida. That's the key. On the criminal part, I think we have to see what happens with the Attorney General. My first reaction is reporting the deaths. To who? That if an animal dies under a Class 3 permit, that should be reported and made public. You have to tell everybody your animal died under a permit, and it should not be renewed. This is Florida State Representative Ana Escamani. She found out about the situation from the media reporting it probably 5 minutes before she made a statement about it. That's how I first became aware this was happening. So that's huge praise to our media. Stop calling me. Text the show, 806-680-2790. When Drive-By's calling me. You can't get on the air calling me directly. Call the show. 1-800-687-0790. You can call the show. That's how you get on. That's how she first became aware. It's huge praise to the media partners. But what's also, it's a disgrace to the government, to the state regulators for not thinking the public would not be outraged over the sloths. I'm kind of over the sloth thing now. Central Florida Zoo, it's unclear if any of the sloths will ultimately survive. I guess there's more. Let's see. So there's 10 remaining. If it's a problem, take them over to the zoo. Get them some care. Why are they hiding out in a warehouse? Anyway, I'm sure there's going to be... This article is far too long. Sloths died. That's all we need to know. Sloths died, and we need someone to take action. And Eric's convinced it's Hillary. Unalived them. Could be. Let's see. 791. I'm going to get to yours in the next segment. Let's take the break. I'm going to be back. We're going to wrap up the day. We're going to hear what 791 has to say. Could be good. Could be horrible. Might agree with him. Might make fun of him. Who knows? Steve Evans here on the Chad Hasty Show. Back in a moment.
Late December back in 63. What a very special time for me. As I remember what a night.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Live local talk on Sundays. Reason, Religion, and Reality, a radio project of the Constitutionalist Society, LLC. Reason, Religion, and Reality brings you a panel of constitutionally minded, liberty-loving patriots covering topics from Supreme Court decisions, government actions including curriculum in schools, and attacks on the church. Catch the shows Sunday noon to 2 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. Listen online at KFYO.com or on the KFYO app. Reason, Religion, and Reality.
Fox on Tech.
President Trump gathering top tech companies to sign a new agreement to help fuel the global AI race. Executives from companies like Amazon, Google, Meta, xAI, and OpenAI are agreeing to pay for all the energy needed to run their planned data centers. They hope it will reassure communities wary of having data centers in their backyard.
We're here this afternoon for a historic signing that will help keep down utility bills very, very substantially, and electricity prices for millions of Americans, and in many cases for a lot of people that don't really understand why they're going up, but they're not going to be going up, they're going to be actually going down.
The president says the tech companies will build their own power supplies and will end up strengthening local grids. Around 3,000 new data centers are under construction or planned in the U.S. The data centers are expected to account for as much as half of U.S. power demand for the rest of this decade. With Fox on Tech, Connor Hansen, Fox Business.
Ted Cruz here. Tune in to KFYO every Sunday at 11 for Verdict with Ted Cruz. But stick around for Reason, Religion, and Reality at noon, followed by the best of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, right here on the News and Talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Hey, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Steve Evans. We wrap up the hour, wrap up the evening, wrap up the show, wrap up Hump Day. Is that still a thing? The Geico Hump Day? I'm still trying to get a cease and desist letter doing radio. Never gotten one. Feel like it'd be like a badge of honor. Someone will just randomly, Eric from Health Center will generate some cease and desist. Don't call me retarded anymore. Don't call me slow. Don't call me whatever. He'll do it. That's who I should mess with. 791, the reveal of their text, says we should go back to only property owners voting, as in the Constitution. The idea. I listened to, I don't even remember what her name is now. I'll have to pull it up. We had a very talented woman in that she's in the Department of History at the University of Dallas, I believe. Dr. I forget her name. She came out, we had a little, my Sunday show, Reason, Religion, and Reality, hosted a essay contest. We gave away some scholarships, blah, blah, blah. And we had her out as the keynote speaker, and she was fantastic. And she talked about George Washington and how George Washington, yes, had slaves, but waited to free the slaves until his death because he left them property. It was part of it. And so his death gave them a stake, it gave them a vote, it gave them a position in society. This was the way it was. You were a property owner, then you had a stake. If you weren't a property owner, you didn't have any investment in the country, you just lived here, then you shouldn't be voting. This was the old idea. I don't know if you're ever going to get that sold, 791. It's It's a very interesting idea. That's going back pretty old school. But I understand your point. Oh, this is Mark. This is a Californian with this idea. But I was saying something. A conservative Californian. There's only one. It's Mark. Let's see. Hollywood said he's thinking of a monitor as a pet, a 6-foot lizard on a leash. That's what you need, Hollywood. A 6-foot lizard on a leash. Get you one of those. What's the big lizards that have all the bacteria in their mouth that live on the island? The big dinosaur-looking things. What is it? It's not a gecko. I'm talking about this big old lizard. They'll eat you. They're monsters, and they have this. They look like giant dinosaurs. What are those things called? I can't. A kimono dragon? I've got some people in the studio with me. That's not it either. That's not what I'm thinking of. These are great big. These are great big. We'll figure it out. I'll tell you tomorrow. Figure it out. They're great big. They live on a certain island. They've got this horrible bacteria in their mouth. If they bite you, then you get terrible infections. Is it a Komodo dragon? I don't know. It's a big, giant, huge lizard. It is a Komodo dragon. That's it. You don't want to get bit by one of those. Okay, go sit down over there. I got radio groupies in the studio with me today, just hanging out. I told you to hush. I told you couldn't talk. I told you to be quiet. 252. The problem with only property owners voting is that the government can take away your property. And there you go. And at the time that idea was conceived, you didn't pay taxes on your property. You actually owned it. You never really own your property anymore. You never really own it. There's an invoice. There's a bill. There's a constant payment. You never fully own it. And so it's kind of a different argument now. Back then, they didn't have income taxes. Not a Gila monster. It's a Komodo dragon. They're great big. Hollywood, they would eat you. Let's see. 252 says Gila monster. No, it's Komodo dragon. I think if I remember right, they live on a we're going, it's for the sloths. We're remembering the sloths. The Komodo dragons would eat the sloths if they could get to them. They live on, they're only on one island or something like that. And they're really mean, and they're evidently there's times of the year where they don't have a lot of food, and people over there research them, and they have to be real careful so they don't get bit by the Komodo dragons and get some nasty bacteria infection. Okay, we're bouncing around two topics here, folks. Got two text chains going on, and I'm probably the only person you've ever heard on the air can follow all of it at one time. The ADHD brain is in overdrive here. Back to property owners. That will always be the argument, is you don't fully own anything anymore. You always have taxes. No matter where you live, in the most remote places, let's just say the United States. I don't know how it is in other countries. In the remote places of the United States, if you're like pure Yellowstone, you live out on a cliff somewhere overlooking a stream, you're in somebody's taxing entity. Some school, some something, except maybe the place where the train station's at. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, where there's no government there. Maybe that's, maybe if you live there. Other than that, you're under somebody's taxing authority, so you don't own what you've paid for. So that is the argument. And the government could take that away. They could take your property away by eminent domain. If you live where a freeway is going, you're moving. You're absolutely moving. There's a story, I don't have time to tell it, but there's a story out there back when the big Overton project happened. You remember, it used to be all houses. There was one house that was a holdout, and it just so happens to be the former home of the incoming Lubbock County Republican Party chairman, Ken Adams. It was his mom's house. She was the very, very last house to sell out. But eventually, it was going to have to sell out. They had to there was construction going on, had to go in there and create a dirt road for her to get in and out of her house. They couldn't completely block her in, but eventually, I feel eventually the state or somebody, she's holding out in the middle of this multi-million-dollar development, they would have come in and said enough's enough. They finally offered her enough that I think they built her a house somewhere. He can tell the story sometime. They finally got her out of there. But if you're sitting in the middle of a million freeway project, you're going to lose your house. I mean, it's going to happen. Eminent domain's going to swallow you. Hollywood says at Madagascar. I don't know. We'll talk about the Komodo dragons tomorrow. Enjoyed being with you today. Always do. It's the Chad Hasty Show right here on the Texas Town Square Media Network. I'm Steve Evans. Hope you have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.